milestones were good ones, though. My mom passed away unexpectedly when I was 23. I was close to her, and losing her was difficult, but I was grateful I had Lincoln there to help me work through my grief. Life with Lincoln was amazing, and I was optimistic about the future I thought we were going to have together. But life had other plans for us. Just 5 years into our marriage, and exactly 3 years to the day that my mother died, Lincoln passed away. He had a heart attack at the age of 26. In an instant, the great life I knew ended. I plummeted into a dark hole of grief for several years. During a time when all my friends were getting married and talking about kids, I was a widow. And I missed Lincoln more than I could explain. Every once in a while, people would ask me if I was going to date again. Sometimes they'd say things like, "Oh, you're young, you'll get remarried." But I had no intentions of dating, and certainly no intentions of marriage. I had squeezed a lot of life into my 5 years with Lincoln, and I was grateful for that. I didn't think I would ever fall in love again. It just didn't seem right. That was until I met Steve. We had been friends for a while, but our friendship eventually turned to romance. I wasn't sure how another relationship could work. I frequently gave Steve warnings like, I spend holidays with Lincoln's family. But he was good with that. And he didn't bat an eyelash when I said, "Oh, and by the way, Lincoln's family and I go on weird adventures for his birthday every year." He wasn't deterred by the fact that I was a foster parent either. In fact, he eventually decided to go through the process and become a foster parent too, so that we could foster together. Steve was very different from me. He'd done lots of cool things. Like he knew how to sail, how to fly a plane, and how to build just about anything. But he never bragged about it. There was a quiet confidence about him that assured other people they could talk to him, and he gave everyone his undivided attention. For the first time, I could picture myself getting remarried and having a different kind of life. Different from the one I had once imagined, but still an incredible life. We decided to get married, but I didn't want a traditional wedding. While I knew my friends and family would be thrilled I was getting married, and they all loved Steve, there was no denying the fact that the only reason I was getting remarried was because Lincoln was gone. And I didn't want anyone to feel sad on my wedding day. A drive-through ceremony in Las Vegas with a rented '57 Chevy Bel Air seemed like the perfect way to launch our new life together. We moved to a house in Central Maine, and I started working as a therapist in the new town where we were living. But just as we were getting settled, we got the news that Steve's father had been diagnosed with terminal cancer. I couldn't believe it. Just as life felt good again, I was about to lose another loved one. I spent the next couple of days thinking about the unfairness of life. I had spent a decade grieving, and I was about to face another big loss. Steve's dad and I had become close, but I knew I couldn't do anything to change the situation. Instead, I had to find a way to cope with the pain. I wrote myself a letter about what mentally strong people don't do. It was a list of 13 habits I wanted to avoid so I could work through the heartache, not just distract myself from it. I found that letter helpful, so I decided to publish it online in hopes it might help someone else. To my surprise, that list went viral. The article was read by more than 50 million people. It was a surreal time in my life as we celebrated the success of my article while privately dealing with the loss of Steve's father, who passed away soon after I made my list public. Within a month, I had a book deal, and my first book, 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do, became an international bestseller that's been translated into more than 40 languages. That led to a series of books. This is the 6th, that have sold more than 1 million copies across the globe. Steve supported my career shift every step of the way. And once I began writing more books, we moved onto a sailboat in the Florida Keys. Steve had dreamed of living on a boat since he was a kid, so we decided to give it a shot. At first, we thought it might just be a 6-month adventure. But that